Hey, what's up everybody? BDF 44 coming at you another video. Alright, so I'm walking down the street. I figured I'd get out of the house. Been cooped up a little too much these days and didn't have any more excuses. Didn't have other things that kept me in the house. Didn't have an injury I was trying to rehab. None of that was an excuse today. So I figured I'd get back to what it is that I really have enjoyed over the last 2 months, which is walking down the street and trying to just make as much content as I could, try to heal from the stresses of my circumstances. And of course, with this being the 31st of the month, I feel like we could be facing some more of those very soon. So I think for me, it's just about starting the week off right, the month off right, putting forth more effort in the right direction. Now, I think what I have to work on most of all, I think for me, in terms of how I handle myself, is just remembering when I've put in the right work and when I haven't, and when best to hold myself accountable for things that I haven't done correctly, and when to kind of remember that I have put in some work and have done some things that would line me up in the right direction right now. So that's the balance, is to just manage where I don't get that right. And I think that's where I've been. Certain situations, not situations, but certain instances, I'll say, okay, that's something I allow myself to get away with that I shouldn't. And then just in that same vein, what I often do is say, you know what, you ain't did enough. Why are you not doing this and that when I actually have put in work in whatever area it is I'm talking about, or may have just forgotten that there are some things I'm waiting on that have to come into play in order for my effort to make any sense, rather than just put effort out there for no reason, have purpose in what it is that I'm doing. And to remember that what it is that I've been enjoying is also too something that can help me in the ways that we need to focus on. I'm so used to, throughout the course of my life, identifying as somebody who wastes time and identifying as somebody who doesn't have anything going for himself, to when I do, it doesn't even feel like I do to a degree. I'm still looking at myself like, nah, you're not. And it's like, yes, I am. And you got to catch up, self, to realizing you have grown tremendously throughout the process of this struggle. And I think about where I've been over the last 3 months in regards to where my mindset was as it pertains to staying in the house, not wanting to getting out at all. Just overall, my whole synopsis and thinking was different than what it is right now. And I was less likely to be able to handle the stress in front of me based on that. Now it's like, all right, I've been through hell over the last 4 months, and the Lord has made it so that the things that I've been going through are a lot better than what it seemed. And so I just took my lumps and kept it pushing forward, rather than thinking so much about things that haven't been done, or what it is that I should have led up to, in regards to what I was doing. It should have been more doing leading up to. It's now time to just say, hey, cut off the thought of where you didn't do right and start looking at the consistency that you yet can still apply, because that's really all that matters. That's what I was telling myself this morning as I was assessing all of this, saying, man, what could I have done over the last month that could have put me in a position to not have to face what could be coming this upcoming month, which is the sheriffs? What could I have done? And the answer is everything I did. Everything I did. I made sure that I got myself some help, so to speak. I got everything certified in regards to my therapy sessions. And that was one of the most important things. And I applied for SI, which was necessary. Applied for GR, which was necessary. I got my security license renewed, which was necessary. All these different things that I actually did in the presence of my stresses with this housing situation not coming my way. I've looked for apartments. I've been getting on my case in regards to that. In my head, it's like, you really need to be spending more time looking for apartments. And it's like, in the area that I'm looking for, we've already surmised that 3 out of 5 links on Craigslist, for which I know how to use to look for apartments, has been attached to a scam that I've already been duped by. I'm waiting for $60 worth of returns right now on refunds from credit scam companies that were trying to dupe me, or however that actually looks, or what it is. The point is, they owe me money and it's coming, I suppose. And it's just one of those situations where you look up and you say, I've done, and I've learned, and I know where to apply my energy, and what the Lord put in my heart to apply it to was my art. Raise awareness for what needs to happen when you get to your next apartment, so that what needs to start has already been begun. It's the same thing I did when I left the Dunsmuir apartments when I lived over there about 10 years ago. I told myself when I was getting kicked out of that place that I wanted to have the right workout habits leading into my next apartment so that I wouldn't have to address starting working out after going through whatever this is. I want to start getting in shape now. And so that's what I did before I left Dunsmuir. When I was aware that I was going to be kicked out of there, I started ramping up my workouts so that wherever I landed, which happened to be my mother's condo, without a fridge and all of that, I would have workout habits that ultimately helped me keep the consistency that I'm able to apply right now in other areas. And so I kind of have that same mindset about leaving this apartment, having my art be replacing that workout start. But the promotion of what it is that I've already done, the works that have already been done, try to just do what I can to make myself as known as possible in that field. And so as I continue to try to work through holding myself accountable for what I haven't done, now the guilt trip that I put myself through is you haven't been applying on enough platforms. You only regularly post on 3 platforms, get on more. It's like, it feels to me that what I need to overcome is what it is that I initially said, which was the idea that I know how to hold myself accountable when I should, and when I, to work on that, to work on holding myself accountable in the right areas so I can make the right changes in my own self. And that's what I'm trying to, I guess, work into my thinking. It's like, you got the right idea, you want to be hard on yourself and balance on self, but in the right apply areas. When you're laying down doing what you shouldn't be doing, you probably should tell yourself to get up. When you're applying and doing the best you can, you probably should be congratulating yourself. And that's where I got it wrong. I'm not handling that part as good as I should be over the last 2 weeks. And so, yeah, man, I think for me, what made that the case was the stress of money situations not being in place. As things were getting worse and worse, it was getting harder and harder for me to, I want to say focus, but it's probably the more real thing to say, was harder and harder to just want to do whatever I needed to do to stay on upright in regards to it. I'm sorry, I got distracted by this car. I want y'all to see. Look at this. I got completely thrown off of what I was talking about, because this is what I walked past, yo. That's crazy. And they got art on the top of it and everything. They fixed that thing up, no telling what it's worth, yo. Fine. I don't know who owned it, but shout out to you, man. Because this thing is amazing looking. Even with the rust on it, it's incredible. Yeah, man. So, I don't want to get all in their stuff. They probably think I try to do something, but nah, I just want to appreciate this. And I want y'all to as well. But yeah, man, just being able to be easy on yourself when necessary, and be hard on yourself when it's absolutely necessary to be hard on yourself. And otherwise don't think that you have to be on top of that. A lot of times, some of us who are alone like I am, a lot of times, you think you have to be on top of that when the village that you would have otherwise would hold you accountable. They would let you know where you're going wrong. I think that's what's lacking for me, is that village at this point. Enough people around me to say, hey, yo, this is how you should hold yourself accountable. These are the times when you say, yo, yeah, let's do a little more. These are the times when you say, yo, you've done enough. And I think I just don't have that presence in my life right now. And so I try to do it for myself, and my conditioning is what ultimately betrays me. What I'm used to, lazying around, having all these different things that I grew up doing that didn't promote production or didn't promote progression within self. So now it's like, I don't think I really got it all together in regards to doing so. I know that it should be done, but the practice of getting that right, working on it, working on that. So that's where I'm at with it. And I just think that that's part of my maturity as a person, and to not hold myself too accountable for being as mature as I need to be at this stage in my life, because I am running slow on certain things. I do run a little slow in regards to certain progressions. So that has to continue to be seen as I look in the mirror and say, yo, why don't you have this, 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 and this? The Lord gave me a lot of things in some very unorthodox areas, and because of it, some things are missing in some very conventional ways that frustrate the hell out of me, and I think would otherwise need to be changed before I can share my world with someone else properly. And so these are various things that you think about when you're my age, but I try to feel as good as I can physically every day so that the age don't play as much of a part in it. Because if I'm already done before I actually get where I'm going, then my life doesn't ever get where it needs to be. I don't ever reach my highest point. So that is part of why I try to stay as healthy as possible, because I know I'm immature, so the body got to match the mind. That's the God's honest truth. That is the God's honest truth. And not only that, but I'm afforded the time to do it because I'm alone all the time. Then I was looking at the workers outside my window today. That's another reason why I wanted to get out the house. 3 straight days of trying to be in my own apartment and not necessarily feeling comfortable in it because they were working so close to my window. So yesterday my anxiety was flaring up a little bit. I spent most of my day in my little back area working on what I was working on artistically. And I just realized that my mental health had taken a step or two backwards in regards to my comfort being outside over the last 2 weeks. Since I had stopped doing this regularly, I found myself being a little anxious about this therapy session that I have on the 3rd, which is Friday, I believe it is, Thursday or Friday. And that's a no-go. That's not what we've been dealing with in regards to myself as of late. You know, I've been getting out every day last month, as you know. So to start taking steps backwards with how I was perceiving being outside, I had to put an end to that. And so that's another reason why I'm out here. This date being so close, the therapy session being so close, I didn't want any real long gap between myself being outside and ultimately that session, because I have to actually go there, this situation. So that's all right. You know, I don't mind it being a camera session, you know, but I also think it can be some good for them to actually see me in person and assess me and body language in person. So I see the need for having somebody come in, and for what it is I go through, I definitely wouldn't object to that anyway. So yeah, that's what this is about. It's about more or less mental preparation for everything that could be possible. I don't know that the sheriffs won't put a notice on my door to start the 1st of the month. That just makes sense to me if they do that tomorrow. So I've been dreading that over the last several days, and a little confused about how to view myself in regards to what all hasn't been done in finding an apartment, as I've already stated. And you know, just trying to keep my spirit and my energy right, you know. Just trying to keep my spirit and energy right by maintaining what it is I love to do. I made a really good playlist yesterday. As I told you guys, spending time in that back area, that was one of the art forms that I focused on, and been able to overcome Apple Music's latest update pretty good. After that 17-hour day working on that playlist, I figured out how to do it. And so I'm sure they'll make an update to adjust to that. I'm pretty sure I've already said this, but nevertheless, this is one of those situations where the start of the week got so much going on. I got an interview tomorrow for GR, which is the general relief. They call you up and see if you, just like everything else in California, see if you're someone that would be eligible for the service by way of your income and by way of your circumstances. And I believe that I definitely am, based on my mental health circumstances and now being connected to a doctor in regards to that. I was able to put that doctor's name down and get SSI, and then from there SSI would automatically make you eligible for GR while you're waiting for that SSI. So these are things that just kind of stumbled into pass for me last week while I was trying to heal from that damn elbow injury, truth be told. And that's really what ate up a lot of my week, which is frustrating because a lot of my mental health things as an adult have kind of been stuff like that wasn't necessarily something that I initiated by way of just choice, but like circumstances just kind of made me stay home, and then from there the anxieties would just flare up. And so I think that's what was starting and beginning to happen this last couple of weeks. It was like, all right, with the stresses that I now have, coupling with me trying to cope with them and holding myself accountable for that, coupling with me doing certain things in the name of fixing the situation and ultimately finding walls and roadblocks, it's just a lot. And then the money thing that my uncle and grandfather were able to help me with a lot in that situation last week. So that took away some of that stress and allowed me to recalibrate and assess. And that's what I'm able to do right now, rather than just be stressed about cash and how I'm gonna go ahead and, live without whatever I need to live without until I can get it. And so that's really what it is. It's just the mind, man. It's always the mind with me. I'm a very, very creative dude, but because of it, you have to deal with your own anxieties or imagination, I think is the word I'll use. And if y'all wonder why I'm sweating so hard, I think it's a combination of exactly how hot it is and humid it is right now. Because I think it's at least 92. It feels like it's about 92. It might be a little warmer, cooler than that, but it's definitely high 80s right now. I just got through working out. And even though I did dry off and clean up after that, the pores are still open, so that'll definitely do it. And of course, the 5 days off, not working out as hard, not doing some of the cardio stuff that ultimately makes it so that my body's used to not sweating. So now, when we've got all those things going on, you're definitely gonna see this water going down my head. But walking past this thing, that cold, man. But yeah.